entities. Chaplain Cruz.
Mr. Trump.
Any relation to Ted Cruz?
Negative.
And Tom Cruise?
Negative, sir.
Okay, now you can take the question.
Mr. Trump, Army chaplain, who is also a Ranger, Joe Lawhorn, had a potentially career-ending reprimand for the crime of using Scripture while mentoring a suicide prevention class. Navy chaplain Wes Motter, who is present today, was
The attacks on religious.
To Ted Cruz?
negative.
And Tom Cruise?
Negative, sir.
Okay, now you can take the question.
Mr. Trump, Army chaplain, who is also a Ranger, Joe Lawhorn, had a potentially career-ending reprimand for the crime of using Scripture while mentoring a suicide prevention class. Navy chaplain Wes Motter, who is present today, was detached for cause and threatened with separation for using biblical answers to questions during pastoral counseling sessions with sailors in his command. Air Force Senior Master Sergeant Phil Monk was relieved of duty when his lesbian commander tried and failed to force him to vocally voice his open support for her personal views on marriage. Decorated veteran and retired Air Force Sergeant Oscar Rodriguez was forcefully removed from a friend's retirement ceremony because he intended to use the word God in that retirement ceremony. Marine Lance Corporal Monica Sterling was convicted at a court-martial for failing to remove Scripture from her personal workspace. Today, commanders are prohibited from having Bibles on their desk or using Scriptures while they're counseling troops. The Obama administration has deliberately set out to take the Christian religion out of the military. Mr. Trump, how will you and your administration combat these attacks on military religious freedom of expression?
Well, thank you. It's a great question. And have we ever had a time like this? Seriously, has there ever been a thing like what's going on? The other day, just to add to your list, I was watching one of the news programs, and they had I think, high school football coach. You know, they're going into battle. Oh, is he here? Oh, stand up. Wow. They really went after you for saying a prayer before. That is just, I didn't know you'd be here. Wow. The world is changing, isn't it? So you're not allowed to pray before a football game. I thought it was horrible. I thought it was horrible. So what did they do to you? What happened? Sorry to take away from your question, but it's sort of an extension of your question. What did they do?
Yes, sir. They put me on suspension, and then at the end of the year, they gave me a really adverse write-up of how well I did my job. I didn't change anything for 8 years. Always prayed after every game, and they just really slammed me on it, said what a horrible person I was, and ended up just not renewing my contract, so ultimately firing me, sir.
I think that is absolutely outrageous. I think it's outrageous. I think it's very, very sad and outrageous. Okay? Religious liberty. Hey, it's about religious liberty. And there has to be a melding of both. We're living in a time where you have to have a melding of both. But it's very unfair what they're doing to religion in this country. And, you know, one of the things that I'm doing, and we have the Johnson Amendment. You know what that is? That Lyndon Johnson in the 1950s passed an amendment because supposedly he was having a hard time with a church in Houston with a pastor. And he passed an amendment saying basically if you're a pastor, if you're a religious person, you cannot get up and talk politics. You can't really, here's a prime example of it. You know how strongly I feel about it. And I had 50 pastors, ministers, I had priests, I had a couple of rabbis in a big conference room in one of my buildings, and we're talking, and I could see they really liked me, but I could also see they couldn't endorse me. And I said, just out of curiosity, why? Well, we can't do it because we lose our tax-exempt status. I said, why is that? In other words, you're taking away your freedom of speech. And they started telling me about the Johnson Amendment, which really was the first time. And I started studying it, and we had a meeting a month later. And I said, we're going to get rid of the Johnson Amendment because they're stopping you and our great people from talking. And Tony and all the people, I mean, these are the people we have to hear from, and we want to hear from them. And you don't mind opposing views, but they're stopping you from speaking. And actually, your opposing views are able to speak because they don't have to worry about tax-exempt status and things. So I think it's very unfair. And one of the things I will do very early in my administration is to get rid of the Johnson Amendment so that our great pastors and ministers and rabbis and everybody and priests and everybody can go and tell and can participate in the process.